It's time for Wacky World Studios Sketching with Steven, featuring art director Stephen Walker.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another fun episode of Sketching with Steven. Today I've got a really fun character for you. It's one of our more mischievous characters. We're going to be drawing one of our fun little wacky raccoons. And you'll see a lot of our raccoons in all kinds of artwork. They're in the neighborhood, they're in the camping, and they just get into all kinds of trouble, going through the campers' backpacks and the campsites, and sometimes even getting into the neighborhood trash cans. So anyway, we have a lot of fun with the raccoons in our artwork, and I hope you guys have fun drawing him. So before we get started on our cute little raccoon, we have to loosen up. So let's start shaking out those arms, okay? Shake them up. Get nice and loose. Okay, there you go. Okay. Now once you're nice and loose, we're gonna get started. So we're gonna start our raccoon with the circle, just like the rest of our characters. And we'll put that right in the center of our page, about the size of maybe a grapefruit. Just go around and around a couple times until you get a circle that you're happy with. Okay, so this is just the base of our head. So you'll see how our raccoon has a little bit more elongated cheeks here. So we're going to be adding to this circle in a few more steps down the way. But before we start adding, I want to add a couple of guidelines. Okay, so our first guideline is going to go left to right, and that's going to curve towards the bottom of the circle. He's going to be turning his head slightly. Okay, and our next guideline will go top to bottom and curve towards the right. Just keep it light. Again, these are just there to help you place the features on your raccoon. If you're using pencil, you can always erase them later. Okay, so now the very first feature that I'm going to place on our raccoon are his eye shapes. Okay, and his eyes are nice round circles as well. So we're going to do the first one about halfway between your guideline and the side of your circle. So we'll do a nice round circle. It'd almost be like a little egg even. There we go. And then the same thing over here, it's just a little smaller since this eye's a little further away. And something I like to do with my eyes is if you make the top of your line a little thicker, it'll actually give the illusion of an eyelid. Make the top of that eye shape just a tiny bit thicker. Okay, so just like the rest of our characters, he's a really happy raccoon, so he's gonna be smiling and pushing those cheeks up into his eyes. So let's go ahead and do a little curved line right here at the bottom of that left eye there. And then we'll do the same thing over here on the right eye, just to give it a little bit of a cheek. Okay, so the next thing I want to add is his nose, okay? And his nose looks just like a little guitar pick. It's kind of like a rounded triangle. Okay, and his nose, since his head is turned, is going to be off to the side here. It's going to touch the guideline and touch the side of the cheek there. So you want to draw a little rounded triangle shape for that nose. And his nose is black, so go ahead and shade it in. If you want to leave a little highlight, you can put a highlight on your nose. And then shade the rest of it in. Just kind of scribble back and forth. Scribble, scribble, scribble. There you go. A quick sketchy way to shade something in. So his nose is popping out from his face just a little bit. He's got a little bit of a muzzle. So in order to give the illusion of it popping out, we're going to do a little curved line right here above his nose where the guidelines meet. And then we're going to draw the top of his smile next, okay? And the top of his smile is right below his cheeks. There's just going to be two more curved lines. So now that we have those smile lines on there, we're going to draw the rest of his muzzle, okay? His muzzle is going to be a C shape. It'll come down from the side of his nose here. It curves down and goes back up to the smile. All right, and so he's got a wide open mouth smile. So let's go ahead and open that mouth up. We're gonna draw a U shape that curves off of that smile line, comes down just a little bit outside your circle, and then goes back up. And that's the inside of his mouth. Almost looks like a hammock. Okay, and inside his mouth, we're gonna show his tongue. His tongue is just two little bumps. So just a curved line coming off the side there, and then another curved line, two little bumps, almost like rolling hills. And then just to give his mouth a little depth, you can go ahead and shade that in too, just like you did with the nose. Just kind of scribble it in, back and forth. There you go. All right, and to finish off his mouth, we just have to draw his lip. To draw the lip, you're gonna draw another U shape that kind of curves outside your circle here. It follows the same curve of his mouth. There you go. All right, and that finishes off his mouth. Okay, so earlier I talked about his cheeks, how we're gonna change the shape of our circle to create the cheeks there. So what we're gonna do is very, very lightly, we're gonna draw two lines that kind of come to a point. Okay, so very, very lightly come off the side of your circle. And you'll have the first one here off the top. And then the second one will come off the bottom. So we just want them both to come to a little point over here, outside. They both touch each other there. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. When these points come together, they almost look a little bit like an ice cream cone. There's the other side of that cheek. Just very, very lightly draw that in. And there's our raccoon's little cheeks. Okay, so his cheeks are nice and furry. So on the ends of those cheeks, go ahead and give him a couple little shark fins, dolphin fins, just a couple little curved lines off the sides there to give him that little fuzziness. Our raccoons are little, little unkempt. They do like to dig around in the garbage. And then just a couple more dolphin fins off the smile here. This is gonna create a color separation here. So part of his fur is darker than the other. So that'll just curve off the smile and down to the bottom of your cheek there. And then you can kind of go over your lines a little bit more, make them a little bit more permanent once you're happy with them. Okay, and we have to do the color separation on this side. Again, just a couple little dolphin fins to create that color separation down to the bottom. It's all part of that muzzle area. Okay, maybe we want to show a little bit of his neck here. His neck is just going to be a little curved line off the bottom, and then a little bump for his shoulder there. And then that color separation actually continues down onto his front. So you just do a little S curve here, continue that color separation. And then off the front, his chest has a couple little stray furs kind of popping off of it. So you draw another couple little dolphin fins there to create the fur on the front of his chest. And if you want, you can even add another hint of his shoulder in here, just another little bump. And that'll kind of finish off the neck part of his head. Okay, so now we have to add the ears, okay? And the ears are really fun because they're just triangle shapes. They are rounded triangles. We don't like any kind of sharp points in there. So let's go ahead and draw a nice rounded triangle right up here at the top of the head for that first ear. And then his second ear is going to be a little smaller. It's behind his head over here. It'll curve up and then back down over on this side. There's his ears. Okay, and then the inside of his ear is just another triangle shape. So you draw another one here. And another one here. Okay, and then the top of his head is very furry. So Inside each of those ears, we have to add a couple more little dolphin fins just to create that fur inside his ear. Just a couple little dolphin fins there. We'll do a couple on this side as well. And then give him a little tuft of fur up on top of his head also. Just a bunch of little furry dolphin fins there. Okay, and before we put the pupils in, the last feature we really have to add to our raccoon, which is really the most iconic part of the raccoon, is the mask. You know, raccoons, they almost look like little bandits, you know, because they do like to get into trouble a lot. So we have to give them that mask. So the mask is actually going to curve off the cheek here, and it's going to follow the curve of your eye. So you give them that mask shape there. Just keep it nice and light at first. So follow the curve of the eye, and then it's going to curve all the way over to the side of your head. And there's the top part of that mask. Now the bottom part of the mask is going to connect to the smile line here, that top of the smile line, the cheek, curve all the way over again to the side of your cheek. There you go. There's that raccoon's mask. You do the same thing over here. Follow that eye shape and all the way over. And we'll do the same off the cheek there. There you go. And his mask is a darker color, so you can shade that in as well if you want. Just give it a quick back and forth. Scribble, scribble, scribble. Doesn't have to be perfectly black. You can always color your drawing later if you like. And one last detail our raccoon needs is some eyebrows as well. His eyebrows are little teardrop shapes up here at the top of the mask. So you drop two little teardrops up here. There's our first one. And draw another one over here. And then just shade those in too. Those are also dark eyebrows there. Okay, so now let's bring him to life. The last thing we're gonna do to our raccoon is add some pupils in there. Okay, and his pupils are gonna be nice round circles. We'll put them in the corners of his eyes here. There you go, here's the first one. And then we'll do the second one. Then inside each of those, you're gonna draw another circle. And then you can give them a little highlight with a third circle. And then just shade in that middle circle there. All right, and there you have it, our wacky raccoon. So when you're finished with your drawing, make sure you sign it. Remember, you always want to take credit for your work. There you go. Go ahead and sign it. And then of course you can always color your drawing afterwards. Again, if you'd like to send us your drawings, we'd love to see them. You can send them to us at info@wackyworldstudios.com. You can also like this video and leave comments in the feedback below. If you have a character you would like to see, let us know. We want to hear from you, and we would love to take requests on those characters. So please let us know. We have tons and tons of characters here at Wacky World, so I'm sure we can find something in our catalog that you guys would love to draw. All right, thank you again so much, and I look forward to drawing with you next time. Have a great day.
Quack, quack.